Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to chemistry class. Today we are going to discuss about chapter 10, class 10 chemistry. The topic will be condition for rusting. Now we see the picture. In the diagram, we see some test tube. We have 4 test tube here. The first one, second, third, and fourth. We have 4 different test tube. And in the first test tube, all the test tube they are sealed. In the first test tube, we have an iron nail inside the test tube, and we have some anhydrous calcium chloride (CaCl2), and inside the test tube, air is present. In the second test tube, we have an iron nail, and we have some boiled water. In the third test tube, we have iron nail, we have boiled water, and we have oil layer, and we have air. In the fourth test tube, here we have oxygen gas inside the test tube, and we have an iron nail, and we have cold water. So in the figure, 4 test tube is given, and we see what is present inside the test tube. Now our question, if we keep this test tube for a week and observe what will be the result, then what will happen? And from the figure, we have a question, what is the aim and objective of the experiment? Now we discuss what is the aim and objective of the experiment. At first, we can talk about rust. Students, I think you know what is rust. You see iron nail, an iron chain, and a brown color substance present in the nail. So this brown color substance is nothing but it is rust. So what is the definition of rust? Rust means rust is a compound. Its formula is Fe2O3 3H2O. Fe2O3 NH2O. N is the variable quantity of water molecule. N may be 1, 2, or 3. So, what is rust? Rust is nothing but the hydrated ferric oxide. The hydrated ferric oxide, it is called rust. That means water molecule present with ferric oxide. The color of the compound is this color. It is a brown color. Brown color. So what is the condition of rust formation and how the rust will form? The answer is, if we keep the iron material in open atmosphere, then in presence of the oxygen and water, after a multi-step reaction, we get ferric oxide NH2O. So it is the rust formation reaction. It is a chemical change. So it is the condition for rust formation. Iron, it is a metal. We need iron, and also for rusting we need oxygen and we need water. If anyone, let us consider it is 1, it is 2. So iron is present. If oxygen absent or water absent, then rust will not form. For rust formation, we must need iron, oxygen, and water. So the experiment was, it is the figure. And the question was, what is the aim and objective of the experiment? The answer is to prove that for rusting, we need oxygen, we need water, and we need iron. If anyone absent, rust will not form. So how we can prove it? So if we wait 1 week, then after 1 week, what will we observe? The answer is in the first test tube. It is the first test tube. In the first test tube, here iron nail is present. Iron nail is present. Air is present. In the second test tube, iron nail is present. Boiling water, it is present. Third test tube, we have air, we have oil layer, and we have boiling water. Fourth test tube, we have oxygen, we have cold water, and we have iron nail. So this test tube is test tube 1, then test tube 2, then test tube 3, then test tube 4. So after 1 week, we see that in the fourth test tube, we will get rust. So our question, why? In the fourth test tube, we have cold water. That means water is present. And we have oxygen. So oxygen is present. And we have an iron nail. So here iron is present. So they participate chemical reaction and they will produce Fe2O3 NH2O. So in the fourth test tube, we will get rust. It is the fourth test tube. If we consider the first one, what will happen? In the first test tube, we have iron nail that is present, and we have air, that means oxygen is present. But here, water is absent, no water. As water is absent here, so there will be no rust. Why water is absent here? You see, in the first test tube, we used here some calcium chloride anhydrous. Anhydrous calcium chloride, it is a dehydrating agent. This one is a dehydrating agent. That means this one can absorb moisture. So if it is a container, in this container, some moisture will be present. But as calcium chloride present here, so calcium chloride absorb all the moisture. Calcium chloride absorb all the moisture from this test tube. In the test tube, some moisture will be present, but this moisture totally absorbed by the calcium chloride molecule. When calcium chloride absorbs the moisture, then inside the test tube, only oxygen is present that comes from the air and iron nail is present. So in the first test tube, iron is present, oxygen is present, but moisture is absent because the moisture absorbed by this dehydrating substance. This one is known as calcium chloride. So as moisture is absent, water is absent, so we will see no rust. Now the second test tube. In the second test tube, we have boiling water, we have iron nail. So it is a test tube. And in the test tube, water is present and some oxygen will be present here. So when we apply heat, and if we boil the water, then the oxygen molecule will be come out from water. All the oxygen, as oxygen is a gaseous substance, so when heat is applied, the oxygen molecule will be discarded from the mixture. Then after heating, this one is boiling water, only water will be present. Only just water will be present, oxygen will be absent. So in the second test tube, if we consider the second test tube, in this test tube, we have boiling water, that means only water is present and iron nail is present, but oxygen is absent here because when we boil the water, the oxygen will be discarded from the test tube. So we will get no rust. Now in the third test tube. In the third test tube, we have boiling water. That means water is present, and we have iron nail. So iron nail is present, and here we see air is also present, but we have a oil layer. This one is oil layer. So in presence of oil layer, the oxygen from the air, in air we know oxygen is present, so no oxygen molecule can enter in water, because oil layer, it is a barrier for the oxygen molecule. So no oxygen can be enter in water. So here air is present, but the oil layer create a barrier. Because of the presence of oil, the oxygen cannot enter in water. So here just water is present and oxygen, iron is present. Oxygen is absent here. So because of the presence of oxygen, we will see no rust. We will see no rust. No rust here. So finally, we see that we have 4 different test tubes and different chemical present there, and they participate chemical reaction and they form rust. In the 4th test tube, we have all the chemical present for rusting: water present, oxygen present, and iron present. So in the 4th test tube, we get rust. On the other hand, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd test tube, sometimes water is absent, sometimes oxygen is absent, so they cannot produce any rust here. So what is the aim and objective of the experiment? The answer is, for rusting, we need oxygen, we need water, then iron react with oxygen and water, and it will form rust. Dear students, I hope you understand it. Wish you good luck. Assalamu alaikum.